So we waited and waited and waited and waited, and just when we thought it was coming, we got a vacuum cleaner. So we waited and waited and waited some more, so much more that it's basically nearly Christmas. Merry Christmas Day. Hold on. We probably shouldn't play Christmas music. Just in case people are watching this in June or July. Wait, don't people celebrate, some people celebrate Christmas in June or July, like halfway through the year? Screw it. Play the Christmas music. Christmas tree, wishing all a Merry Christmas. I guess the real question is, if Santa left this under your tree, would you be happy or disappointed? That guy in the van is looking at me. Okay, let's just not do that. So right now we are in full auto mode, which usually is my kind of go-to on these cameras, I guess, but I'm not really liking auto mode. What's going on here? We've got a whole film crew, we've got a whole film set. Look at this, we've got the film lorries. Wow, I thought it was going to be quiet here today. It is not going to be quiet here today. They are filming. What are they filming? I don't know. I can't see any like filming in progress, but I can see the filming vans. Anyway, we're in full auto, but the thing with the Action 6 is it is misbehaving in auto mode, which I'm going to come on to later. But I wanted to show you it in auto mode because we'll switch to pro mode later. And I also wanted you to hear how it sounds straight out of camera, but I'm only going to do that for this first section because it is windy, and yeah, you won't be able to hear me if I don't connect a mic. So right now everything's in full auto and the audio is coming out of the camera. I'll obviously tell you when I switch that up. Sorry, I don't know what is going on here. Look at this. Maybe I should ask someone, what are they filming? Ooh, I'm filming, they're filming, we're all filming. Anyway, let's not get distracted. Action 6. Yes, there's 3 people this camera's been upgraded for. 3 people? No, 3 types of people. 3 types of people this camera has been upgraded for, in my opinion. People who shoot in low light, people who want to use a macro lens, and people who want to shoot one video and use that one video as a horizontal video and vertical video, so have loads of room to, yeah, crop around. If you do not fall into 1, 2 or 3 of those categories, there is no justifiable reason for you to upgrade from the 5 to the 6 or get the 6 over just getting the 5. One of the many things that are the same on the 6 as they are on the 5 is the battery capacity. The battery capacity, is it? It is or are? No, it is. It is the battery capacity. So the batteries from the 5 work in the 6, which is great. But the real question is, are we getting the same battery life, the battery time on the 6 as we are on the 5? DJI say we are 240 minutes, which is 4 hours, but their tests are still in 1080p. I do think it's time they stop doing their tests in 1080p and do them in 4K. And they did do the tests in 16:9, which I don't know if it makes a massive difference shooting in 1:1 versus 16:9 in terms of battery, but surely they should have done the test in 1:1, seeing as the whole point in this camera really is to shoot in 1:1. Anyway, I did my own test to see what happened, and on the Action 6 I got 141 minutes, which is 2 hours 21. On the Action 5 I got 156 minutes, which is 2 hours 36 minutes. So you are getting slightly less battery time on the Action 6, only slightly. One thing they did increase was the internal storage. Hooray! By 3 gigabytes. 1, 2, 3. I'm sorry, but maybe it's just me, but as an absolute minimum, you've got to chuck on at least 20. Right, round it up to 50, and then chuck on 20, which gives you 50, 60, 70, 70. You can't just upgrade a camera and just add on 3 gig. I would love to be a fly on the wall in the meeting. Someone says, right, we've got to increase the internal storage, and then the next person says, yep, you know what, let's just put 3 gigabytes. Just add on 3 gigabytes. Because I've done some more tests. The file sizes are bigger on the Action 6 versus the Action 5. A 1 minute 4K 25 video on the Action 5 is 590 megabytes. On the Action 6, it's 677 megabytes. So 3 gigabytes is not an upgrade. Maybe it's just me, like I said, maybe it's just me. I just found it a bit cheeky that it went from 47 to 50 and not 47 to at least 70. They've added this new feature, quality priority. So essentially what it means is when you have it turned on, you're getting better quality. When you have it turned off, you're not getting better quality. I'm sorry, who is turning this off? Why have we been given this new setting, new feature to essentially say, no, you know what, I do not want quality. I do not want quality, turn it off. Why have we been given this thing? I don't know, again, maybe it's just me. Who is turning this off? You know what it is for me? It's like it's another setting we have to make sure is turned on and hasn't accidentally turned off, because you know how these things are, sometimes they randomly turn off, and in this case it's probably like the Insta360 aliens jumping into the camera and saying, you know what, we're not giving you good quality, I'm turning quality priority off. Why have we been given the option to say I don't want good quality or I want good quality? Just give us quality. Don't give us the option. Oh, important people coming through. Look at this. Got the motorcade, is that what it's called? Look at it. Can you see it? Can you see it? I always wonder who's in it. Oh, maybe that's the oh, I forgot his name, the Prime Minister guy. The other thing with this quality priority business is it's not available in all modes. So sometimes you go into a mode and you're like, oh, is the quality on? Is the quality not on? It's just slightly restrictive. But talking of quality, there are some really good quality upgrades. You've got a new mounting system, so you don't have to mess around now making sure that the camera is a certain way. You can just, you know, easily put it on the quick release mount, whichever way you want. The battery percentage is constantly displayed on the screen, which sounds like a small thing, but actually to me it's a big thing. You don't have to keep pressing on the battery to see what is left. And for me, one of the biggest, if not the biggest upgrade on the 6 is the new onboard mic setup. Now we still have 3 mics like we do on the 5. The difference with the 6 is there is a new mic location which is on top of the camera. So one of the things I kept saying about the Action 5 in many videos was the fact that when you speak behind the camera, you sound a bit muffled. With the Action 6, that is no longer the case because, like I said, you've got this new mic on the top of the camera. So when I speak behind like this or in front like this, can you hear that? Let's see how good the mics are. Someone's over there on the floor shouting and screaming. Anyway, we'll back off over here. So when I speak to the camera like this, you can hear me clearly, obviously. And when I speak to the camera like this, you can hear me clearly because of the new mic on top. Like I said, to me, it was one of the things I didn't like a lot about the 5. So yeah, I'm glad that we have this. One thing I would say though is this camera is not good with the wind, as you have probably heard so far throughout this video, because I can feel the wind. I'm actually going to connect the mic, like I said a minute ago, like I'm going to connect it in a minute because we can't continue like this. But I just wanted you to hear everything straight out of camera for, you know, a decent amount of time. I think what we need is we need a built-in wind muff guard thing, you know, like on the Insta360 cameras, we've got it like built in. We need that built in now. It's time, DJI, it's time, because the wind pickup from these mics is just not good. And you know, we are in a windy globe, like the earth is windy, so we need a guard to guard us from the wind. And talking of guard, we now have a guard. My Mini friend has joined us, Mike Mini, so the rest of this video will be heard. The rest of this video you will be hearing the audio, there you go, you'll be hearing the audio direct from Mike Mini, which obviously has a guard. So if you've heard wind up to now, hopefully, fingers crossed, you shouldn't hear too much wind for the rest of this video. And just as I say that, a massive gush of wind comes. Whoa, whoa. Can you hear that? Can you hear it? If you can't, then Mini's doing his job. Anyway, I have also switched over into pro mode because, like I said earlier, I think auto mode is misbehaving. And what I mean by that is the exposure is just, it's the way it keeps going brighter and brighter and brighter, I found, in auto mode, whereas obviously in pro mode, you can bring the EV down. And one thing in auto mode that I cannot accept is the faces. There's something really weird going on with the faces. There's not just in auto mode, but I think it's slightly better in the test that I've done in pro mode, which is obviously what we're in now, like I said. But I'm sorry, the faces are just looking way, well, not faces, I've only done the test on me, my face. The face is looking a little bit pasty and quite ghosty, which is not a true to life like representation of what my face is. So yeah, that's my issue with auto mode. I just think there's issues with the exposure. Yeah, so anyway, the rest of this video is going to be in pro mode, normal 10-bit color, and we will continue on with what I was saying, which was the quality updates. So we have new flaps. Talking of flaps, look how big these flappers are. Look how big these flappers are. They are some big flappers. Anyway, we have new flaps. Great, I really love the new flaps because there were some times where the flaps would open randomly on the 5. We do have gesture control if that's your thing, and there is a new field of view, natural wide, which essentially gives you the wide field of view, but doesn't give you the what's the word? Distortion around the edges. You know what? Let me show you what that looks like. Right, so this is wide. Right, this is the wide field of view. You can probably see around the edges. My hand looks really weird. You can probably see around the edges. It's a little bit distorty, right? Let's go into the new field of view. So this is natural wide. So as you can see, a little less distorty around the edges. And continuing on with the quality list, we now have a 4K 360 horizon lock for everyone that wants to turn 360, and we have film tones. So essentially these kind of new filters, new LUTs, whatever you want to call them, that have been added, which I'm not gonna lie, when I first saw it as like a feature, I thought, oh gosh, because I'll be honest with you, on the Insta360 cameras, they have some filters and I think they're rubbish. I would never personally use them. But I have to say, the film tones on the 6, I could see myself using them. I actually think they're really good. And you know what I actually think is better is the fact that we have the option to choose the intensity, right? So you don't just whack the filter on, you can, you know, choose 30%, 50%, 100%, whatever it is. But be careful with this. The way I want you to think about these film tones and the percentages is essentially like alcohol. The higher you put the percentage, the more fucked you're gonna be. And what I mean by that is, I don't think you should put it to 100% because it's just a little bit too intense. And you have to remember, these film tones are baked into the image. So if you choose 100% and you get home and you watch it back on the big screen and you don't like it, like I said, you're fucked. Versus if you put it to, let's say, 30%, it's not as intense. So when you get home, you're not gonna be like, whoa, whoa. So you're not gonna be as fucked. So just be careful when using the film tones. And of course, we have a larger square sensor and a variable, no, stop. You know how many times I've had to retake this because I can't, because you know it's cold, so my lips, they're not moving properly. We have a larger square sensor and we have a variable, you know what I mean, variable aperture. 3 things that didn't make it to the quality list, and in my opinion should be put back on the quality control list, are the 2x lossless zoom, portrait mode, and the wireless earbuds thing that you can use as a mic. First of all, the 2x lossless zoom. Look, in most of the tests that I've done, I don't know, it just looks a little bit more blurry than I thought it would. And actually, when I did some tests side by side with the Action 5, I thought the 2x digital zoom on the 5 looked better than the 2x lossless zoom on the 6. At one point, I had to double check the files were the right files I thought they were, because I thought I thought I got them mixed up when actually I didn't. I didn't. So I'm saying I don't think I would use it at this moment in time, but if I did want to use it, it is a bit annoying because you can't activate it whilst you're recording. You have to stop recording, activate it, and then start recording. And if you have it activated and you want to pull it back in and deactivate it, you've got to stop recording. So let's say now I wanted to show you the flappers. Where are they gone? Oh, they're not here anymore. But I couldn't just show you it and then activate it. Yeah, like I said, I'd have to stop recording. Oh, there they are. There they are. Oh, what a shame I can't show you. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it needs some fine tuning, but it's not one of my favorite features on the 6. And then we have portrait mode, which I guess is meant to brighten up the face and make us look beautiful and wonderful, when in fact, in most of the tests that I've done, I just think it's doing too much processing on the face, to the point where in some situations it's just made the face look a little bit mushy. So I just think it needs some fine tuning. To be honest with you, I was not really a massive fan of portrait mode on the Insta360 Go Ultra, but obviously I just wanted to test this mode out to see, you know, what was going on. But yeah, I don't know, maybe you like it, but I don't. And then you have the wireless earbuds, which you can use as a microphone. Look, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. All I'm going to say to you is, please, whatever you do not use your earbuds as a wireless microphone, because you are going to sound like Nemo, which, let's be honest, if people want to watch Nemo, you know, we've got Disney Plus for that. It's just, I don't know why they've added it. It's the quality is so, but you know what? Okay, let me show you. Right, so as you can hear, as you can see, I've got my headphone, no, not my headphone, my earbud. Look, we've got the flappers back as well. So look, as I just said, please, whatever you do not use your earbuds as a microphone, because let's be honest, this just sounds shit. Okay, let's talk about this new larger square sensor. If you're going to get the 6 thinking it's going to give you better image quality over the 5 because of this new larger square sensor, you are going to be you're not going to be laughing, you're going to be disappointed. The main benefit of this larger square sensor is room, right? It's literally room. So you can shoot one video and crop that down into a horizontal video and a vertical video. Now, we can already do this. On the 5, on the 4, you can literally shoot in 4:3 and you can crop that video down into a 16:9 video and a 9:16 video, right? And you can do the same thing on the Insta360 cameras. You can shoot in free frame mode, which essentially is doing the same thing. You shoot now and you crop down later. The advantage with the 6 is you have more room. Like, you've got more room to play with when cropping down. So I think the question really here is, how much room do you want? Because if you shot a 16:9 video, let's say on the 5, you can crop that down to a 9:16, but it would be tight. It would be tight. Versus shooting a 4:3 video on the 5, you can crop that into 16:9 and then have more room to play with, cropping it to 9:16. On the 6, like I said, you've got even more room. So I think it's just a question of room. If you're thinking about this in terms of like, do you need this, and you are going to be using this as a feature, like I said, you can do this on other cameras. So I think the question you have to ask yourself here is room, like, because obviously this sensor is taller, so you've got more room to play with above you, which actually does help as well when you are like, you could move your image like up and down. Let's say you weren't framed correctly. Let's say you shot in 1:1 and you just used it as a 16:9 video. The other benefit is I don't know, let's say you weren't positioned as you wanted to be positioned. You can move the image, you know, in post up and down, because you've got more room to play with in terms of the height. So yeah, don't get this thinking the sensor is going to add anything to quality. Think of this sensor as a sensor that's going to give you more room to play with, you know, with cropping things down to a horizontal video and vertical video, versus shooting in 4:3 on the 4, on the 5, or free frame mode on the Insta360 cameras. One of the cool features when shooting in the one by one mode, which they call custom mode, is you do have this feature, the grid feature. So you turn the grid on, which can help with framing, so it's pretty cool. But just remember with this, that is how the image is. So essentially it's a square with the corners cut out, and that is what will appear when you put the image on your timeline. If you want the full square without the corners cut out, then don't activate the grid. That's my advice, because it's not just like a guideline in the camera, that is how the image will be. And of course, then we have the variable aperture, which, if I must say so myself, I have timed this pretty spot on. I wanted to get to this point at this point. So when it's basically like sunsetty, because obviously we're about to talk about low light, and it's getting lower light than it was. So yeah, I think I deserve a clap or something for that. Anyway, variable aperture, opening the eyeball up to f2, closing the eyeball down to f4. And when I say eyeball, because if you look at it really closely, it does look like a cute tiny little eyeball. When it's opening and closing, it does also look like a butthole. Eyeball or butthole, you take your pick. Anyway, if you're thinking that this is going to give you background blur straight out of the box, again, you will be disappointed. To get a little bit of background blur, you are going to need to buy the macro lens, and to buy the macro lens, you're probably going to need to sell your arm or your foot, because it's not cheap. Is it a little bit cheeky that they released this new lens and it's only compatible with the 6? Meaning you have to buy the 6 to get the new macro lens? Yes, it is. If we look at what Insta360 have recently done, they haven't released the Ace Pro 3. Instead, they've bettered the Ace Pro 2. They've bought out tons of accessories. That thing has turned into some mega beast. It's got like grips, cages, lenses. It's even got a printer. And if we look at things, right, they could have easily not released any of that, released the Ace Pro 3, and kind of made you buy the Ace Pro 3 to use these accessories. But they didn't, they haven't. They've released these accessories to better the Ace Pro 2. So yeah, I don't know. If you look at things like that, it's, I don't know, I think it's just a little bit cheeky that you have to get the 6 to be able to use the lens. I mean, from a business point of view, obviously it's great for them, it's more money. But from a point of view of us, it's probably a little bit cheeky. One thing I can't understand is why wasn't there a macro lens bundle? Because right now, as of time of recording today, and even from like day 2 or 3, the macro lens is sold out. In fact, Amazon is giving me a delivery date of the 6th of June, 2026. Months away, absolute months away. I just can't understand why there was no like macro lens bundle. But anyway, I've done some maths. You can currently buy the Ace Pro 2 dual battery combo with 2 of their new lenses and the new printer for the same price as buying the Action 6 and the new macro lens. Da 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 da. Here we are in super night mode. Look at that sky, wowzers! The sky looks great. Yeah, maybe we should stay this way. The sky looks boring that way, we'll stay this way. Right, so super night mode, is it perfect? No, we still have wobbles, bobbles and jitters here and there, mush and grain in the corners sometimes, and our faces sometimes look like we are in Toy Story. But if we are comparing it to the 5, it is a big improvement, which by the way, we will be going side by side with the 5 in a minute, because there is something really cool and special I want to show you, and I needed it to get a little bit darker, which it basically has to show you it, because it does look pretty cool. It looks better in the dark, but more on that in a minute. Yeah, anyway, super night mode. So with the variable aperture, this is the only way you can have the eyeball open to f2. So you don't have the option to fix it to f2 outside of super night mode, which is a bit annoying. I kind of understand. Maybe something to do with the minimum focus distance, but I do think we should be given the option, because when you flick through the variable apertures, just like flick through them, you see a warning at the bottom that says, well, not a warning, it's not like a whoa, there's just a message, a polite message, by the way, you know, minimum focus distance, blah 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 blah. Why not do the same? Why not just allow us to fix it to f2 and put not a warning, a message at the bottom saying blah, blah, blah. But currently you can't. The max you can open the eyeball up outside of super night mode is f2.6. So talking of restrictions, I have listed quite a few restrictions that I think is worth you, well, I was gonna say it's worth you listening to. It sounds worth you hearing. Right, so you can't shoot in 1x1 mode whilst in super night mode. You can't use the lossless zoom whilst in portrait, super night or subject tracking mode. You can't shoot in 1x1 whilst in portrait, super night or subject tracking mode. Quality priority is not available in 1x1 mode, portrait, super night or subject tracking mode. You can't use the film tones whilst in 1x1, portrait, super night or subject tracking mode. And just a couple of other things that you might want to know. You can no longer have the screen brightness as a shortcut, and you actually can't see the brightness of the screen, like the percentage. For some reason they've removed that. You can't use gesture control in portrait or super night mode. And why, DJI, can we not hold down the record button to cancel out a recording? We can do it on the Pocket 3, which, by the way, I don't think you could do that straight out of the box, so you added it in a firmware update, so you could clearly do that with this. Just send the aliens across, just, you know, give us a firmware update. You could do it on other Insta360 cameras. Why can we not do it with this? I really thought they were gonna add it with this, but they haven't. So please let us hold down the record button to cancel out a recording. Thank you. Okay, so here we are, side by side, super night mode 5 versus 6. Now, like I said, it is not perfect, right, on both cameras, but if we are looking at things on both cameras, it is an improvement on 5 to 6. I still think super night mode just does weird things to the faces. So personally, I would try to avoid shooting faces in super night mode, maybe go into manual mode. I do have a low light video coming out, or is already out, depending on when you're watching this video, where I go side by side with super night mode and manual mode. So yeah, check that out. But right now we're focusing on super night mode, and there is something, like I have said, very special that I want to show you. And I was gonna say the light. Yeah, no, it is right. The light is the perfect light for this because it looks the best in the dark. So as we're walking, I want you to focus on mainly the stabilization between the two cameras, because I think that is the biggest improvement from the 5 to the 6. Ladies and gentlemen, we have made it. I have waited all day for this moment to show you this. Look at this. Wow, look at this. It is just mind-blowing. This is like just whoa, like this is the Christmas decorations of all Christmas decorations. And by the way, the clip before and this clip is obviously not shot on the Action 6. Imagine the quality was this good, but yeah, I couldn't help but get my phone out to zoom in so you could see every little detail. Anyway, shall we wrap this shit up? So my conclusion with Mr. Action 6 is this. At the beginning of this video, I said if Santa left this under the tree, would you be happy or disappointed? I personally would be slightly disappointed. Is it the best upgrade of all upgrades? No. Is it the worst upgrade of all upgrades? No. But I can't help but look at the image, because let's be honest, the most important thing coming out of the camera is the image. And I just look at it and I'm like, no. I've talked about the exposure issues, the faces issue, but there is a lot of noise and grain coming out of the 6, which isn't a thing or as much of a thing on the 5. I even went side by side with Nano, and it's not a thing or as much of a thing on Nano, which is weird. It's just weird. If you look at some of the clips at the beginning of this video, in sunlight, under my hat, there's like weird, like noisy, grainy, mushy things happening on my forehead, which is the case in most of the tests I've actually done. It's just doing too much weird processing stuff. I think we need the DJI aliens to come over the airwaves with their special tools and do some fine tuning. Yeah, I don't know. It's just a little bit weird right now. Things do get slightly better in pro mode, like I've said. But look, I can't help but think most of this stuff could have just been sent in a special delivery with the aliens through a firmware update to the 5. Like, let's take the 2 times lossless zoom. That was added in a firmware update on the Pocket 3, so it clearly is doable. There are some improvements which I've gone through. The low light is better. Super night mode, mainly the stabilization, is better. I could definitely see myself using it. The faces still do weird shit, so probably wouldn't shoot my face in it. The audio definitely is better. And of course, the larger sensor to give you more room to play with is an upgrade to a lot of people. So I guess the question you need to ask yourself is, what are you going to be using this camera for? If you do want that massive amount of extra room to crop in and the option to use a macro lens and all that, then maybe this is the camera for you. But if you don't really need any of those features, I wouldn't rush out right now. You're not missing too much. But look, we've got the camera. It's all about just going out and having fun with it, which is exactly what we're going to do. A camera is only a small part of the story, so we will just, go out and have some fun and sit back and wait for a special delivery from the DJI aliens with their tools to do some fine tuning. To wish us